Welcome to Power Talks, your go-to channel for unlocking the power of education and skill development. Here, we dive into transformative tips, expert insights, and inspiring stories to help students, professionals, and lifelong learners in Kenya and beyond achieve their dreams. Whether you're preparing for exams, building your career, or seeking personal growth, this is the place to be. Subscribe now and join the Power Talks community as we empower you to learn, grow, and thrive. Listen to the hosts now.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about something that I know a lot of you are thinking about, which is how to make sure your career doesn't just survive,
Right.
but thrives in this crazy, fast-changing world.
Yeah.
So we're going to be looking at career advancement and continuous learning to kind of uncover some really cool insights about staying ahead of the curve.
Okay.
And, it's not just about climbing a ladder anymore.
Yeah.
It's about finding fulfillment and a sense of purpose in what you do.
Yeah. And I think what's so interesting about this source is just that emphasis on long-term vision.
Right.
It's not just about okay, how do I get a promotion next year?
Yeah.
It's about understanding where you want to be in 5, 10,
Right.
maybe even 20 years.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us can relate to feeling a bit lost or uncertain about our career paths at times.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And the source material talks about goals acting as a roadmap.
I love that.
I love that analogy too.
Yeah.
But how do we actually create a roadmap that doesn't just sit in a drawer?
Right. Well, that's where this idea of SMART goals comes in.
Okay.
And it's not just a buzzword. It's a powerful framework for setting goals that you'll actually achieve.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Okay.
So for example, let's say you're in marketing
Okay.
and you have this general desire to become a better content creator.
Yeah, I can definitely see how that could feel overwhelming.
Right.
Where do you even start with something that broad?
Exactly. But using the SMART framework, you could transform that vague goal into something like increase my blog traffic by 20% over the next 6 months by publishing 2 high-quality articles per week focusing on SEO strategies.
Hey.
Suddenly you have a clear target,
Right.
a way to measure your progress, and a timeline to keep you accountable.
Okay, so we've got our roadmap, we've got our SMART goals,
Yes.
but the source also dives into something that honestly can feel a bit intimidating.
Yeah.
Continuous learning. It's haven't we learned enough already?
Right. But think of it this way. Continuous learning isn't about cramming your brain with more information.
Yeah.
It's about staying curious, being open to new ideas,
Okay.
and developing the skills you need to thrive in a world that's constantly evolving.
So it's not about becoming some kind of know-it-all, but about having that growth mindset
Yes.
where you're always open to learning and adapting.
Absolutely. And this source does a great job of breaking down the different avenues for continuous learning, too.
Right.
It's not just about formal education anymore.
Yeah.
You've got online courses,
Yeah.
workshops, conferences, even just reading industry publications or following thought leaders on social media.
It almost sounds like a choose-your-own-adventure for professional development.
It is.
I do remember the source mentioning something about on-the-job training as well.
Yes.
It seems like so many people overlook that as a valuable resource.
It's true. Sometimes the best learning opportunities are right in front of us. Maybe it's shadowing a colleague in a different department,
Right.
volunteering for a new project,
Right.
or simply asking your manager for more challenging assignments.
I love that you brought up asking for more challenges.
Mm-hmm.
The source material mentioned that comfort can actually be a sign that you're not stretching yourself enough.
That's a really important point. If you're feeling too comfortable in your role, it might be a sign that you're not learning and growing as much as you could be.
So it's about getting a little bit uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zones, and embracing those challenges as opportunities to learn and grow.
Yes.
It's about being brave enough to say, okay, I don't know how to do this yet, but I'm willing to try.
Exactly. And that ties directly into another crucial concept highlighted in this source, adaptability.
Okay.
In today's job market, being able to adapt to new technologies, new ways of working, and new challenges is absolutely essential.
I think a lot of people, myself included,
Yeah.
tend to view change as something negative,
Yeah.
something to be feared. But this source really challenges that perspective.
It does, and it introduces this idea of developing a growth mindset, which is about believing that your abilities can be developed through effort and learning.
Right.
It's about seeing challenges not as roadblocks,
Right.
but as detours that can ultimately lead you to a more fulfilling destination.
It's about seeing those failures not as endpoints,
Yeah,
but as valuable learning experiences that can actually make us stronger and more resilient.
absolutely.
So how can someone start to cultivate this growth mindset, especially if they've always struggled with self-doubt?
Well, the source suggests several strategies, but one that really resonated with me was the idea of reframing negative self-talk.
Huh.
Instead of saying, I'm not good at this,
Right.
you might say, I'm still learning this, but I'm determined to improve. It's
Wow.
a subtle shift in language, but it can have a powerful impact on your mindset.
It's like turning that inner critic into a supportive coach.
Yes.
I like that a lot. And this source also emphasizes the importance of seeking out feedback, right?
Yes, absolutely. Feedback, even if it's constructive criticism, can be incredibly valuable for growth. It helps us identify blind spots, areas where we can improve, and ultimately helps us become more adaptable and resilient.
Okay, so we've got this roadmap metaphor. We've got SMART goals to guide our journey, and we're fueling that journey with continuous learning and a growth mindset that embraces change. But let's be honest, all of this can still feel a bit overwhelming.
You're absolutely right. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so important to remember that this isn't about trying to do everything at once.
Right.
It's about taking small, manageable steps in the right direction.
And it's about celebrating those small wins along the way.
Yes.
Because, let's face it, achieving big goals can take time and effort.
Absolutely.
But the rewards are so worth it.
They absolutely are. And I think this source does a fantastic job of reminding us that career advancement isn't just about climbing some imaginary ladder. It's about finding fulfillment, making a meaningful contribution, and becoming the best version of ourselves along the way.
That's beautifully said. So we've got this big picture view of career advancement.
Yeah.
It's about continuous learning, adaptability, and cultivating that growth mindset. But how do we actually apply these concepts to our own unique career journeys? What are the specific steps we can take? That's what we'll explore in the next part of this deep dive.
I'm excited. Me too. We'll be sharing more practical tips and strategies from the source material, and we'll even delve into some personal anecdotes that might help you connect these concepts to your own experiences.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Welcome back. I'm excited to kind of dive into the nitty-gritty of actually applying these concepts to your own career.
Me too. It's all well and good to talk about growth mindsets and adaptability, but I think a lot of us are wondering, okay, where do I start?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the source actually offers some really practical advice.
Yeah.
Remember how we talked about SMART goals being like mile markers on your career roadmap? Well, the next step is to identify those mile markers.
Right.
The specific actions you can take to reach your long-term goals.
So it's about breaking down those big, audacious goals into smaller, more achievable steps.
Precisely. For example, let's say your long-term goal is to become a recognized leader in your field.
Yeah.
That might seem like a huge, daunting goal,
Right.
but you can break it down into smaller steps. Maybe the first step is to join a professional organization and start networking with other leaders.
That's a great example. It's like creating a checklist of actionable items
Right.
that will eventually lead you to that ultimate goal.
Exactly. And the source emphasizes the importance of prioritizing those action items. You can't do everything at once.
Right.
So it's crucial to focus on the steps that will have the greatest impact on your progress.
So it's not just about having a plan, but also about being strategic and intentional with our time and energy.
Absolutely. And I think this is where a lot of people struggle.
Yeah.
They get overwhelmed by all the possibilities and end up feeling paralyzed by indecision.
It's like that saying, analysis paralysis.
Yes.
We get so caught up in planning and researching that we never actually take action.
That's a great way to put it. And the source actually offers a really helpful tip for overcoming this.
Okay.
It suggests setting a deadline for making a decision,
Uh-huh.
even if it's an arbitrary deadline.
Ah.
This forces you to take action and move forward, even if you're not 100% certain about the outcome.
That's such a practical tip. It's like giving yourself permission to make a decision and then adjust course as needed.
Exactly. And that ties back to the concept of adaptability. In today's world, things are constantly changing.
Right.
So it's less about having a perfect plan and more about being able to adjust and pivot as needed.
Which is why the source also highlights the importance of continuous learning.
Right. Because if we're constantly learning and growing, we're better equipped to handle those unexpected changes and challenges. It's like having a toolbox full of different skills and knowledge that we can draw upon whenever we need them.
And the great thing is, there are so many different ways to engage in continuous learning.
Yeah.
It's not just about formal education anymore.
Right.
We have online courses, workshops, mentorship programs, even just reading books and articles.
The possibilities are pretty much endless. And one thing the source emphasizes is the importance of choosing learning opportunities that align with your goals and interests.
Okay.
It's not about just learning for the sake of learning. It's
Right.
about being strategic and intentional with your development.
So if someone is really interested in, say, data analytics,
Mm-hmm.
but their current role doesn't involve that much data work,
Mm-hmm.
they could proactively seek out opportunities to develop those skills.
Absolutely. Maybe they could volunteer for a project that involves data analysis or take an online course to build their foundation.
Sure.
The key is to be proactive and take ownership of your own learning journey.
I think a lot of people hesitate to do that because they're worried about looking unqualified or admitting that they need help.
That's a common fear, but the source actually suggests that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Okay.
It shows that you're willing to learn and grow, which are qualities that any employer should value.
It's about having that growth mindset we talked about earlier.
Yes.
Embracing the idea that you're always a work in progress and that there's always room for improvement.
Exactly. And the source also highlights the importance of finding mentors or role models who can guide you along the way. It might be someone in your current organization, someone you admire in your field, or even just a friend or family member who has valuable experience to share.
Mentorship can be so valuable, but it can also be a little intimidating to reach out to someone and ask for guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Any tips on how to approach a potential mentor?
Well, the source suggests starting by identifying what you hope to gain from the relationship.
Okay.
Are you looking for advice on a specific project? Do you
Okay.
want to learn more about a particular industry?
Mhm.
Once you have a clear idea of what you're looking for, it's easier to reach out and ask for specific help.
So instead of just saying, "Will you be my mentor?" it's better to say, "I'm really impressed with your work in area of expertise, and I was wondering if you could offer some guidance on specific challenge or goal."
Exactly. Be specific about what you're looking for and how they can help you. And don't be afraid to be vulnerable. People are often more willing to help than you might think.
This has been so helpful already.
Uh-huh.
We've talked about breaking down big goals into smaller steps, being strategic with our time and energy, embracing continuous learning, and finding mentors who can support our growth.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like we're really starting to build this powerful toolkit for career advancement.
We are, but there's one more essential element we need to add to that toolkit.
Okay.
And it's something we've touched on already, adaptability.
Okay.
In today's rapidly changing world, being able to adapt to new situations, embrace new technologies, and learn from setbacks is absolutely crucial for success.
I think a lot of people, myself included, tend to view adaptability as something that comes naturally to some people, but not to others. Like it's a personality trait rather than a skill that can be developed.
That's a common misconception. But the source actually argues that adaptability is a skill that can be learned and strengthened with practice. It's about shifting our mindset from one of fear and resistance to one of curiosity and openness to change.
So how do we actually do that? How do we train ourselves to be more adaptable?
Well, the source offers several suggestions. One is to actively seek out new experiences and challenges.
Okay.
This could involve volunteering for a project outside of your comfort zone,
Right.
taking on a new hobby,
Yeah.
or even just traveling to a new place.
It's about pushing ourselves beyond our usual routines and comfort zones.
Right, exactly. And another suggestion is to practice reframing our perspective on setbacks.
Right.
Instead of viewing them as failures, we can choose to see them as opportunities for learning and growth.
It's about asking ourselves, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this setback to make myself stronger and more resilient?
Yep, that's the idea. And the source also emphasizes the importance of seeking feedback from others. Especially when we've experienced a setback. It can be helpful to get an outside perspective on what went wrong and how we can improve.
Because sometimes we're so close to the situation that it's hard to see the bigger picture or identify our blind spots. Having that external feedback can be incredibly valuable.
It can. And it can also help us develop our self-awareness, which is another key component of adaptability. The more aware we are of our own strengths, weaknesses, and tendencies,
Right.
the better equipped we are to adapt to different situations.
It's like having a mental map of our own capabilities and limitations so we can navigate different challenges more effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about seeking out new experiences, reframing our perspective on setbacks, and seeking feedback from others. Any other tips on how to become more adaptable?
Well, the source suggests something that I think is incredibly important: cultivating a sense of humor.
Humor.
Yeah.
How does that tie into adaptability?
Well, when we're able to laugh at ourselves and not take ourselves too seriously, we're more likely to bounce back from setbacks and embrace change with a positive attitude.
It's like having that emotional resilience where you can roll with the punches and not let challenges completely derail you.
Exactly. And the source even suggests incorporating humor into our work lives whenever possible. Maybe it's sharing a funny anecdote with colleagues.
Yeah.
Finding humor in everyday situations.
Right.
Or simply not being afraid to laugh at our own mistakes.
I love that. Because let's face it, work can be stressful, and a little bit of humor can go a long way in making it more enjoyable and productive.
It can. And can also help us build stronger relationships with our colleagues, which is another important aspect of adaptability. When we have strong relationships with the people around us, we're more likely to feel supported during times of change and transition.
So building those connections and fostering a positive, supportive work environment can actually contribute to our ability to adapt and thrive in the face of challenges.
Absolutely. And the source even suggests making an effort to connect with colleagues outside of work.
Okay.
Whether it's grabbing coffee, going for a walk, or attending social events together, these informal interactions can help us build stronger bonds and create a more cohesive team.
It's about seeing our colleagues not just as coworkers, but as human beings with their own unique experiences and perspectives.
Exactly. And those diverse perspectives can actually be incredibly valuable when it comes to problem solving and adapting to new situations. The more perspectives we're exposed to, the more creative and innovative we can be in our approach to challenges.
It's like having a brainstorming session where everyone brings their own unique ideas and insights to the table.
That's a great analogy. And the source actually suggests making an effort to seek out diverse perspectives, even if it means stepping outside of our usual social circles. Maybe it's attending a conference or workshop on a topic that's outside of our area of expertise, or simply striking up a conversation with someone who has a different background or viewpoint than our own.
Those interactions can be so enriching and eye-opening. They can challenge our assumptions, broaden our understanding, and ultimately make us more adaptable and well-rounded individuals.
I can. And I think that's a great note to end this part of our deep dive on. We've covered so much ground already.
We have.
From setting SMART goals to embracing continuous learning to cultivating adaptability.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one more crucial element we need to address before we wrap up: taking action.
That's right, because all this knowledge and insight won't do us any good if we don't actually put it into practice. In the final part of this deep dive, we'll be sharing some specific tips and strategies for taking action and making these concepts a reality in your own career journey.
We'll be exploring how to overcome procrastination, how to build momentum, and how to stay motivated even when things get tough. So stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive into career advancement and continuous learning.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into career advancement and continuous learning.
We've covered so much ground already.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about setting those SMART goals,
Yeah.
embracing continuous learning,
Uh-huh.
and really honing that adaptability muscle.
It's been a lot.
It has. But now it's time to get down to brass tacks.
Right.
How do we actually put all of this amazing knowledge into action?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And I think one of the biggest obstacles people face is simply getting started.
Oh, totally. It's so easy to get caught up in the planning phase.
Mm-hmm.
We make lists, we research online courses, we dream about the future, but then
Yeah.
nothing happens.
It's so common.
It is. The source material actually addresses this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it talks about the danger of procrastination and offers some really helpful strategies for overcoming it.
Okay, well, let's dive into those strategies.
Yeah.
What are some practical tips for actually taking action and moving forward with our career goals?
Well, one suggestion is to start small.
Okay.
So instead of trying to tackle a huge goal all at once, break it down into smaller, more manageable steps.
That makes a lot of sense. It's less overwhelming that way. And each small win can build momentum and keep us motivated.
Exactly. And the source also suggests setting deadlines, even if they're self-imposed deadlines. This creates a sense of urgency and accountability.
Yeah, because let's face it, without a deadline, it's easy to let things slide.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves, I'll get to it eventually,
Right.
and then eventually never comes.
Never comes. Another helpful tip is to find an accountability partner, someone who can check in with you regularly and help you stay on track.
I love that idea. It's like having a built-in cheerleader
Yes.
and a gentle nudge when you need it.
Exactly. And the source even suggests making a public declaration of your goals.
Whoa, okay.
Whether it's telling your friends and family or posting about it on social media.
Oh, wow, that's next level accountability.
It is.
But I can see how it would add an extra layer of motivation. No one wants to be the person who announces a big goal
Right.
and then doesn't follow through.
It's about creating that external pressure to keep you moving forward.
So we've talked about starting small, setting deadlines, finding an accountability partner, and making a public declaration.
Those are great.
Any other strategies for breaking through procrastination?
Well, the source emphasizes the importance of identifying your personal procrastination patterns.
Okay.
So what are the specific things that tend to trip you up?
Yes.
Is it fear of failure, perfectionism, lack of clarity? Once you understand your patterns, you can start to develop strategies for overcoming them.
That's so insightful. It's like understanding your enemy before you can defeat it.
Exactly. And the source also suggests creating a reward system for yourself.
Ooh, I like that.
When you achieve a small win, celebrate it. It doesn't have to be anything big. Maybe it's taking a break, watching your favorite show, or treating yourself to a nice dinner.
Yeah, those little rewards can go a long way in keeping us motivated and engaged in the process.
They really can. And the source also emphasizes the importance of self-care.
Oh, that's so important.
When we're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, it's harder to stay focused and productive.
So true. So it's about prioritizing our physical and mental well-being,
Yes.
making sure we're getting enough sleep, eating healthy foods, and engaging in activities that bring us joy.
Absolutely. Because when we feel good, we're more likely to perform well in all areas of our life,
I agree.
including our careers.
This has been so incredibly helpful. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive,
We really have.
from setting SMART goals to embracing continuous learning to cultivating adaptability. And now we've even tackled the challenge of procrastination.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has. But the real journey begins now, right? It's about taking all of this amazing knowledge and insight and putting it into action in our own lives.
That's the challenge I want to leave you with today. What is one small step you can take right now to move closer to your career goals?
Don't let this information just sit in your brain. Make it work for you. And remember, the journey of career advancement is an ongoing process. There will be ups and downs, detours, and unexpected challenges, but with a clear vision, a commitment to continuous learning, and an adaptable spirit, you could achieve anything you set your mind to.
That's what it's all about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep crushing it out there.